light. That's what we're learning, and this is a very exciting concept. We just Danielle and I just got the X2O water
You
machine.
want to show them?
I could show them. Yeah. Okay. So I could show you
Show the
our
front.
the front
Uh,
the X2O machine with the. I can show you. It's a big machine, but and Daniela put it together herself. I had to do another broadcast, so she put it together herself, and she was like I guess cleaning the filter, running water through the filter. So
to get the charcoal out.
right, so there was a couple
But
of
I don't know
gallons of
why that's
water being
from.
processed
Yeah.
while it was online with another show, but we did spill at some point. That was a little.
Because the thing wasn't on.
Right, I didn't have the filter on correctly, but everything I took my first hit of
Mine too.
water, and so did Daniela, and I feel very clear. It gives me a mental kind of a mental clarity that I haven't experienced. It's a very pleasant feeling. So I'm
And I felt right away my fingers on my left hand were tingling, and my stomach just feels that it has a hydrogen. That's what it feels like.
right. You definitely feel it. You can feel the that something is
I'm gonna
shifted.
put the fan on.
It's not like we were sort of joking. It's not like taking a hit of acid where you peak out after a half hour. I mean, I'm early into this, so I drank the water about 15 minutes ago, but I just feel clear. I don't feel a lot of debris inside my process connections. So I
You're,
was.
now is the machine connected to a water source, or do you actually have to
No,
pour the water? You
you just
pour the water,
you fill it in. Yeah, you
Uh-huh.
fill up the little tank.
and you're pouring in well water.
We're putting
Yeah.
well water. Yeah. So I don't know how
It still tastes like well water to
it
me.
still tastes like well water.
But like that aftertaste, you could taste the light infused water.
The light, yeah, you
Yeah,
could
I can
kind of sense
taste it.
the infusion of light. It's kind of a weird way to
Yeah, right.
kind of, but it's definitely I'm very excited about the possibilities of using this machine, and I think it's amazing. So hopefully you'll get to use it, and we'll be able to compare notes and to see how we like it. But it goes along with your subject, which is we are light. We are beings of light, and that's something that the creepazoid parasites don't want us to understand. They want us to think that everything is very physical, right? And so in that way, you don't see anything. You don't see doesn't exist.
So I had suggested the title because I had been doing some reflecting, but also some research, and um, and then I started doing something different with my Immunical body shot, which I also had a very uh, kinetic, instant experience with. Um, are you familiar with moringa?
Oh,
We
we just got the seeds from one of our listeners.
I don't know if you can see this, but
Yeah,
we
show them
just
the back too.
show
I
them
don't
back.
know if you
We
know.
just got a
Yeah,
one of our friends just sent us a packet of moringa
drumstick tree.
seeds. But
That's what's.
you've eaten the plant, the fruit, the
So I have an organic moringa, but it's already powdered, and I add, and so what I did is I used so I took my Immunical uh, whey protein isolate with bonded cysteine, and then I added the booster, which is reds and greens, and then I added moringa powder, which meant that I had to add a little bit more water. But interestingly enough, two things happened. One was when I shook it, I didn't need to shake it as much as I did if it didn't have moringa in it. I don't know why that is. I have no idea why that is. I shook it for like 10 seconds, and everything was, I didn't see any white. And then, and then when I drank it, it was delightfully sweet. It was like I mean, there's nothing in the moringa that, you know, it's not like there's something added to it, but it just was really, really good. So I thought what I would do is share a couple thoughts with you about what I was saying about in terms of research. So if I asked you what is plant blood, or anybody that's on the, I only see one per go time 76, but if I asked you what is plant blood, what would you say?
I would say the sap, and this the sap is seems to be
Well, what kind of plant though? Let's.
right, but all I think all plants have a clear liquid, almost like if you take an aloe plant and you cut it up, that's sort of a thick. But I guess the consistency could be different for each plant.
Yeah.
But yeah, you think of maple syrup, think of you know
So plant blood is a terminology that is not necessarily super scientific, but plant blood is essentially chlorophyll.
That's good.
Chlorophyll. So
but is chlorophyll isn't it green?
yes, well, what's responsible for green grass, the green in the grass, is chlorophyll.
Right.
So here's the thing.
But if you cut a piece of grass, you don't get a green liquid.
No.
No. So photosynthesis. So in other words, because of photosynthesis, something's happened. You don't necessarily get a green liquid. So the term plant blood is a little bit of a misnomer in a sense. But here's the point about the research that I was doing. So there's plant blood hidden inside our mitochondria. And inside our mitochondria, this plant blood silently harvests sunlight. And as a result, we have energy, we have, you know, we age at a certain pace, but maybe we can slow that down or reverse it. But essentially, it's what it means to be alive. So, this is chlorophyll. It's a molecule in the leaves of every plant that's been that's been quietly watching the sun for 3 billion years. It's been sunbathing for 3 billion years. And most people can pronounce it. You know, if you see CHLOROPHYLL, most people can probably figure out how to pronounce it. But they heretofore haven't been able to really explain it. Like, I was a little bit of a trick question when I said, what is plant blood? But if you really think about it, and you studied this, if you really think about it, you could have said, oh, it's chlorophyll. So what we're beginning to find out is that this is not just a fact of botany that, you know, is just sort of there. It's science or whatever. What we're finding out, and this is the really important thing, is that it's the most important cofactor in the human body. And that word cofactor, you've heard me use it before. We've used it before when we talk about, like, what are those things like broccoli seed or broccoli sprouts that help produce glutathione. So these chlorophyll pigments harvest light, and they enable animals and humans to capture that light in the mitochondria, and that's what we call photonic energy. So to stop there and say what I'm going to say goes to the water, it goes to a lot of things, but you've heard people say you are what you eat, okay? We know that, but I'm going to say that you are the light that you capture. How much light you capture, first of all, has a direct result in how much light you emit. And so it's like a two-way thing, right? Inside, outside. But it's all about light. So when I suggested we say we are beings of light, you're drinking light infused water. I'm suggesting that there are certain, like, I know that this a little bit flies in the face of the carnivore diet, but I'm going to say that there's plants. Well, let me back up the carnivore diet. We don't want to eat meat that the animals haven't been grass fed. In other words, if grass is the single largest producer of chlorophyll, we want the animals to eat the grass, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want it to eat as much grass as they can throughout their life, as opposed to being, grass fed, grain finished. The problem with grains isn't really just the grains, it's the grains in the United States.
Yeah.
I was listening to a woman, just to digress for a second, I was listening to a woman say that they moved out of the United States and they moved to Germany, and they couldn't believe the difference in food in Germany and in Europe than in the US. And she gave a really crazy example. She said, if you go into McDonald's in the United States, not that the three of us would ever eat there, but if you go into McDonald's in the United States and you get the French fries, there's 15 ingredients in the French fries, including known carcinogens. McDonald's in Germany, the French fries, 3 ingredients: potatoes, salt, and whatever the oil that they fry it in. That's it. Now, how's that possible for an international restaurant company? How many billions of stores, whatever? How's that possible? Well, the answer is that all of those things that are in the French fries in the United States are outlawed. You can't use them. You can't build a McDonald's in Germany and say, I'm going to make French fries like they make them in New York. It's outlawed. So my point is that I was starting to talk about the carnivore diet and how this flies in the face of a little bit. I digressed to make the point about, and I'm sure the meat in the McDonald's in Germany is also probably a little bit better.
Hopefully, there's too many kids
Yeah.
and too many children in the and human tissue in the.
Right. So if photons or light arriving through our skin and through our tissue, whether it's sunlight, red light therapy, or when you say tissue, I mean, I'm not talking about just externally, or drinking water that has been light infused, or taking specifically certain nutrients vis-a-vis consuming them. And I'm using this example of moringa because I think grass and moringa, they compete for that in the plant kingdom for what has the most chlorophyll. Okay. So if this is the case, then if it's the case that when we consume light, we also emit light, then this is true. This is an inside outside kind of truth, right? Mm-hmm. And when we emit light internally, we create and maintain health. And there's a couple of elements, if you will, or minerals that speak to this that are really important. One of them is iron, and the other is magnesium. Okay, because iron is enhanced by chlorophyll, and then iron transport oxygen throughout the body. And magnesium is so critically important because the very few things in our body work without adequate levels of magnesium. So what I'm saying is that this idea of enhancing consumption of chlorophyll, it breaks down. Well, first of all, it breaks down mentally any idea that we had that, animals eat this and people eat this, and never the twain shall meet. Okay. We eat animals, they eat grass. But we're also capable of, by the way, we don't eat any animals that don't eat grass. We don't eat lions. We don't eat carnivores. We don't eat tigers. We don't eat, wolf. We don't eat any of that stuff.
Also true in the bird world. The carnivorous birds are not considered kosher, and we generally don't eat.
Yeah. Well, when I said we, I sort of, you could say people that observe kosher or halal, but I'm saying humans.
Right. You don't generally see somebody ordering like some eagle fillets at the French restaurant.
Right. So, so what I found is that a lot of the vegetables and fruit that grow and thrive and produce something in their fruiting stage, that's a result of photosynthesis. That's a result of chlorophyll. So I'm not suggesting that we have to go out and become vegetarians again or something like that, but I'm saying that those things that have an impact on other, like that are N2F2, is it N2F2? NRF2 activators. They activate that pathway that we've talked about before with broccoli seed, and broccoli sprout, that is so critical to the liver and to glutathione production. That there's certain ones that just really stand out, and broccoli's one of them. Some green vegetables are others, are another example, but also fruit. I think one of the reasons Dr. Paul Saladino likes to juice, oranges, if you ever heard him talk about this, is because how does an orange grow?
On a tree.
And where does it grow? Florida, California, Arizona, where it's just sunny all day. It's like just sunny most of the time. So again, the focus is on frequency, the focus is on light, the focus is on sunlight, and it's it's for us. It makes perfect sense. For a lot of people, it's like, oh, you can't go out in the sun. You got to wear a hat. You got to wear your clothes. You got to wear your long sleeves. You got to put this on. You got to put that on, because somehow or another, the sun's the enemy. The sun's not the enemy.
Yeah, and it's also if you eat the right foods, you don't get sunburn.
Right, because of melanin. Exactly. So, but also if you eat some of these chlorophyll-rich foods and go in the sun and take things like, the proper water and you've heard me say an Immunical, these things all work synergistically. They all work together. And the mitochondria, which is really the powerhouse of the cell, it's not surprising that you experienced a little bit more energy and a little bit more clarity after the first sips of the water, because that's what's being affected. I was just looking at one of the, so somebody says, how do you take moringa? Or maybe they didn't hear what I said, but, I took it this morning as a powder.
Is it a powder of the seeds or of the
No, the leaves. The leaves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you want to hear something interesting, Ellie? You know what it's called? So it's called Moringa oleifera, and it's native to India and Nepal. And in those countries, and also Africa, Latin America, and Asia, they call it something different. But in those countries, they call it tree of life.
Wow. So if I were to plant one, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll find out.
Yeah,
I'll
you have
have
a lot of
yeah, I have a
seeds.
bunch of seeds, so I'll find out more about what the tree looks like. You know,
It says
a
on the
shaman.
how to do it.
Drums, yeah. A shaman that affected was a part of my pathway. Encouraged me. I was very at the time that I was involved with him. He this is Greg Whitehunt, and he's online a lot, but he grows bamboo plants and makes flutes out of them. But he said that it's very important that we grow the plants ourselves to see if you have a he's a real botanist to see if you establish a relationship with the plant. Like I could imagine there's certain plants and as a gardener there's certain plants that just don't do well.
You know,
Or in the
back when I used to do some farming, and back when I did, somebody introduced me to a book by Peter Tompkins called The Secret Life of Plants. Have you ever heard of that book?
I saw The Secret Life of Trees. I don't know about
It's The Secret Life of Plants, and it's a thick book with a lot of information. So for me to say it boils down to this is probably a little bit of an exaggeration. But one thing's for certain is he talks a lot about talking to the plants. And we have stuff in our garden. I mean, we have stuff in the back of the house that my wife, who says she doesn't have a green thumb, looked like it was like on its way out. Like it was like, it wasn't going to survive. One of them is a pot with what do you call that plant that grows in the desert?
Aloe?
No, not aloe, not cactus. Sherry, what do you call those plants right there in that bowl? What do you call those plants? In that bowl right there outside on the table. Right in that pot on the picnic table. Well, anyhow, I started talking to them and making sure they got water and making sure they got a little bit of, we have a store here that if you want to buy a tree, this is the best place to buy a tree. It's called Moon, Moon, Moon Nursery. And they make a product called Moon Juice. And it's a liquid and it's dark and it's like you wouldn't want to drink it, I don't think. But it's you add it to the base of the trees or to the plants or whatever. Chlorophyll, the other thing about chlorophyll is that it's the most close in the plant world. It's the most closely aligned with hemoglobin. In fact, the only difference between the blood of the plant and the blood of the human, on a physical level anyhow, is that the plant has a core, the human hemoglobin has a core of iron, and the plant chlorophyll has a core of magnesium. I sit in the sun every day. I talk to my grass cow. Talk to my grass-fed cow.
We had an experience this morning. The cows are just. We passed a herd of cows on there were in the road. We were competing for the road, and they were just so sweet. They're just I know in India they don't like to eat the cows because they consider them to be incarnations of their ancestors.
Right, sacred. Yeah. So there's a lot of other chemical and there's a lot of other processes that result in photosynthesis and chlorophyll, and how it could be beneficial to us. One of the things that we've been practicing for a long time is to avoid eating nightshades. You know what nightshades are, right?
Yeah.
Tomatoes, eggplant, potatoes, certain mushrooms, because they grow in the dark. But I'm a big fan of mushrooms, so I did a little bit of checking, and then I discovered that there's certain mushrooms that vegetate in the dark, but then they fruit in sunlight. So I guess an example would be, I don't know, maybe shiitake, maybe lion's mane, maybe cordyceps. I'm not really sure, but I know that button mushrooms, the white mushrooms, because I used to go to this mushroom farm back on the East Coast. I mean, they pretty much grow in crap, you know. But again, just exploring that which is green, that which is rank high in chlorophyll, that which can be added to something like our body shots that we do. I think what I discovered this morning has a big immediate impact. Somebody said they added moringa powder to their spaghetti. That's interesting. Would that be to the sauce, or to, I don't know what that means, or to the spaghetti? Are they making their own spaghetti?
Yeah.
What's the best way to get the right magnesium?
Yeah, I wanted to show Debbie that this one that used naturally reacting magnesium spray.
Yeah, I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing. I'm using Symbiotica because Symbiotica's magnesium spray has some other ingredients that look interesting to me, like DMSO. But I just spray it all over and then lay down to go to sleep, and then I sleep for like 8 hours. I'm not drinking anything or taking any pills. I'm just So I think the answer to Debbie's question is transdermally.
Yeah, I was gonna say it topically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy too, Debbie, about the water machine.
Yeah, your
I
face
just-
looks different.
I just had
glowing.
I just had my second cup because I didn't feel so. I can keep drinking. I don't.
It's
get to.
definitely enlightening.
I felt kind of energized the first cup, but then the second I feel more calm, like you.
Yeah,
like you
it's
said,
kind of
yeah.
it's funny because it's energizing and calming at the same time.
Yeah, which is
Like there's
weird.
not a lot of noise in my brain. It seems pretty like tranquil, like tranquil waters. But I'm not falling asleep either. Definitely, it's definitely activating.
So let me kind of bring this home, because what this does potentially, if I did any justice to it, is it reclassifies animal life, because science up till now has had this binary classification of life, and that was like biological science and biological thinking for the last 100 years. But now we have a third category. And that third category is, so the first category is an autotroph. The second category is a heterotroph. And here's the kicker. The third category is a photoheterotroph. Some mammalian life, which includes us, that consumes light and emits light, and uses that light for energy. We can't do what trees do. We can't fix carbon dioxide the way plants do, but we can. How can I say it? We can take those plants and those animals that consume plants and benefit from the light that was used in their life cycle. And we should. We should. You know, I don't know if you know who Anne Wigmore is. She used to talk about wheatgrass juice, which is, by the way, a very interesting. I don't know if you ever had a shot of wheatgrass juice, but
No, but my uncle, he used to be a health freak as
yeah,
well. And he used to do that. I was like,
yeah.
that,
So the first time you take wheatgrass juice, it's like you probably throw up.
yeah,
The second time you take it, you'll probably cough or whatever. But probably when you get around to the third or fourth time, it's like, okay, I'll take my shot of wheatgrass juice. You know, but it's a very, very concentrated thing. You know, very concentrated source of chlorophyll. I'm going to stick with the moringa powder, I think. But yeah,
I have a question. I have a question about the mushrooms. Have you cooked with the cordyceps, lion's mane, and shiitake?
I've cooked with shiitake. I cook with shiitake all the time. I've cooked with lion's mane. I've never seen. I've never bought or seen. I don't know how to get cordyceps. I mean, you can get cordyceps powdered and things of that sort, but I don't know about fresh cordyceps.
Because I want to try those three. I had it in coffee before. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I have a lion's mane chaga tincture that every so often I'll add to coffee in the morning. You know what's really interesting? I don't know. Have you guys? I don't know if you guys have been thinking about this, but last week, or not last week, the week before, I'm trying to remember what the subject was, but I don't know. I brought up something, and somebody in the chat said, "You know, I was just thinking about that." You remember? And then today, somebody's saying I put moringa into my energy bars. I add it to my spaghetti. I talk to my cows. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You got a good audience.
Yeah, they're really
I-
special.
I wonder if you would still need to take magnesium, because even if people would feel, calming effects, I don't know why you would still need to take magnesium.
From the water. You're saying if you
Yeah.
drink the water, you could drink
I
the
mean,
X2O.
people are different, but
Yeah.
I mean, the people that feel,
Well, you have magnesium in your water. You have magnesium in the spray that you're using.
Mhm.
But I think maybe one of the people were asking about different types. I mean, there's all kinds of magnesiums, and some practitioners will say, magnesium glycinate's the best. Some will say magnesium threonate. I don't know. I know that. I think at one point you were taking a complex of magnesium, weren't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but how do you know which magnesium
That your body needs.
yeah.
I think you would have to get tested. I really do. I'm not sure even what that test is, but I mean, you can definitely get tested. You can get your levels tested, and then you can probably look at symptoms. If you have certain symptoms, like muscle weakness or issues after exercising, or maybe problems falling asleep, or whatever. They're all different. Potentially, if it's a magnesium deficiency, then they're all going to be different types of magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was having some when we had the graduation, she was wearing some really bad shoes, and so that night and the next day, she was having trouble with her feet. So she soaked her feet that night in magnesium, and like a basin of magnesium water, and the next day she felt better. I mean, magnesium definitely relaxes.
Yeah, definitely.
Relaxing effect,
I'm not sure if I asked this last time, but So I didn't know this, but the grass fed and grass finished doesn't. Well, it does mean lean, but that's just because of the grading part. Do you understand?
It's because of the what?
The grading, how they grade their meat. Have you heard
Yeah, but
that?
you can also look at, you could look at a ribeye that's grain finished and a ribeye that's 100% grass fed side by side, and you can see a difference. There's less marbling in. I mean, now there could be some other factors as to when when the cow was ultimately processed or something like that. But or if you took a bison ribeye and you put it next to a ribeye from a cow, I mean, those are all easy things to see.
Right.
Are you getting 100% grass-fed beef?
Uh, yeah, but
We're
not
not
grass
so
finished
focused
though.
on it. Dr. Kilt said just eat a lot of meat. Basically, I mean we
Well,
were
if we can afford grass fed, grass finished, we would have to do our research of not the lean ones because I don't like the lean tasting ones.
right. We like the fatty. When we get burgers, we don't like the lean.
Right. So if you're going to eat, if right, so the one way to deal with that is if it's 100% grass-fed, is to get the fattiest cuts.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And
It'll-
and also ground beef. I mean, like I've been buying 100% grass-fed ground beef.
from Featherblade.
Yeah, or even from Whole Foods.
We've been enjoying a lot of skirt steaks and flap steaks from Sprouts.
Is really
It's
good.
it's a good deal. You get a nice piece of steak and it's thin, but it's tasty. It's affordable. I mean, it's just for us.
There's a steak called a hold on. I'm gonna see if I get the name. If I want to spell it right.
I really want to invest in the chat GPT.
In the chat. Yeah.
GPT.
Okay.
1 second. So it's called a picana, Pich.
Oh,
Pecana.
yeah.
She loves pecana.
I love
oh
that.
my god, she begs me to get her pecana.
Yeah, and it's got
Actually,
the fat. It's got a fat cap to it,
Yeah.
all the way around.
She loves pecana.
it's actually little cheaper at Featherblade than it is Mojave.
Yeah, Mojave is very expensive for pecana, but she begs me for it. I was
It's
like,
to die for.
we can't get to pecana right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's got a lot of fat on it.
But I think at Featherblade they don't necessarily give you the cap. They have other cuts of
Yeah,
pecana
I
that
see
look
different.
a little.
Yeah, I
like-
imagine you could ask them to. I mean, they're just so accommodating there, you
they're
know.
so
Yeah,
sweet.
they're
yeah,
so
they're
Just like whatever you want them to do, you know. Like I buy dog food there a lot, and it's supposedly 80% ground and 20 or 30%, 70 or 80% ground, and then 20 or 30% organs. So, and then they grind it all. And I say to them,
They do a
Yeah,
lot
but-
with that Featherblade. They do a lot of mixing organs into the
Yeah.
burgers, which is
yeah,
quite
so- but I just say to them, I don't want you to. They grind it twice, and I say, I just grind it once. So it's a little bit like, because a dog likes to chew. You know?
Yeah, I do.
woof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. So I just, the one thing I for some reason I want to tell the story, and that is that, I've been encouraging people to start seeing auras lately because I think it breaks the whole. Once you see an aura, it's very hard for you to to go back to the deep state way of thinking of everything as like physical and measurable and separate. And once you start seeing auras, and like you said, we are beings of light, you understand, you physically can see that we are emitting light waves, we that our bodies, I mean, that's the essence of the life wave technology, is that we emit these waves of light, and they harvest them in the sense that they bounce back at you. These little patches have certain a crystalline lattice that I guess David Schmidt has designed, and then they come back at you in different and activate different biological pathways, like stimulating stem cell production with the X39. But I always just think that I don't try to see auras anymore. But if you are interested in in seeing a different level of reality, you can look on the outside of a tree and you will see big flashes of light. It's unbelievable to me, as a person who knows this, that more people don't notice it. But the reason you don't notice is because you're trained to think, oh, that you can't, that's not what we're able to do. But if you start noticing auras and you see, like, around a well-developed tree, there is like, it's like a light show going on. And I just remember that years ago, I haven't really tried to see auras in a couple of decades. I just sort of like, I'm not that interested in it. But there was this group of people that were the students of Gurdjieff, of they call it the Fourth Way, and they do a kind of a Sufi. They have an approach to enlightenment that is based on like Sufism. So what they do is they do these elaborate dances together, and as a result of doing that, they kind of sink into some kind of a power structure that's maybe not available to regular folks. The Sufis do these twirling dances and other things. I've met a Sufi who
We're whirling dervishes.
yeah, whirling dervishes. They also have some other methods of investigating reality. But I just want to mention that I saw these four they were very tall, thin, as I remember, people that were, for some reason I met them, and they introduced themselves as followers of this Gurdjieff Ouspensky a technique called the Fourth Way. And they were emitting, like, it was hard not to see all the light that was coming from these people. They were like lamps, man. So it's a
Yeah,
very
I think that if I could add this, I think what you're saying is, if you've ever met anyone, I mean, you sound like you have. I remember walking across a stage once. I won't mention names, but I was walking across the stage once to meet somebody. And as I got close, it was like, I was like blinding. And it wasn't the lights of the auditorium. It was something coming from this individual. I think the Rebbe probably, like, if you ever met him, I think there was probably, you know what I mean? Like, so if you've ever met somebody like that, then you can't forget that. You can't unremember it. And then it reinforces this idea that if you chose to, you could probably develop it as a skill.
Yeah. And I think it's important that we really are beings of light. I think that's an excellent thing to remember. The so the acronym, I think that's the right word. The way we are identified by like a more general, I'm going to say galactic, even though I don't really have any, firm connections to the galactic forces, but they call us ISBs, which is immortal, spiritual, biological entities. that we are a complex composite of light and physicality that and emotions and all the other things that go with us that is unique.
What is Debbie saying she drinks all day?
um I drink
Well,
it all day. I think
well,
the X.
yeah, cause Dr. Stacy's son,
Oh,
he,
Debbie has a machine.
Yeah, she has an
yeah,
X2O machine.
he can drink it all day and not like get
Get burned out,
yeah.
get too energetic. But
I
yeah,
wonder why that is.
well, I mean,
That's weird.
he's a very
Does that mean
strong.
you're so healthy that you're feel energized?
I don't know. I don't know why Trey is able to do that, but
Certain people.
I mean, it's like me. It's like Norman cringes the fact that I drink a cup of coffee before my evening show, and but I'm able generally to sleep pretty well through the
I
night. So
usually don't.
well, I'm pretty good. I'm good. I'm good. You know, it
Because
comes
you
and
wake
goes.
up at 3 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
I usually I usually wake up once, but it's not like it used to be where I was up all night. I used to literally wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start my day. So I'm at least not doing that anymore.
What time did you go to sleep?
At 9 o'clock, religious, because it's said in Hasidus that the hours before midnight, that each hour you sleep before midnight are like sleeping 2 hours. So I postulated that if I slept from 9 to 12, that's like sleeping
I
6 hours.
usually till
And then I only had
like
6 hours, and then I had 1, 2, 3. So it was like I was sleeping 9 hours in my sense at the time. But I was able. I used to make my videos at 3 in the morning for a couple of years.
Well, last week it was Shavuos, and I stayed up all night, and I learned the Arizal's study guide. I went through his study guide, and but I had to drink 2 cups of coffee. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to. I would have fallen asleep.
It's painful.
There's something about reading that makes me sleepy.
Yeah, no, it's we had to travel, and we traveled in the middle of the night, so we didn't really get much sleep. It's painful to deprive yourself of sleep. I don't know how.
3 a.m., 4 a.m. Somebody's Truth Matters, Brenda. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. is also, interestingly enough, it's also the height of the liver detoxification process around 3 o'clock in the morning. That's why some people, they just get awakened at that time. Not that they can't go back to sleep, but yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon.
All right, well, let's call it a week. It's always, I mean, like I said, this is always my favorite hour of the week.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
get to
a lot
talk
of
to you. You always have something interesting going on in your thought stream, so I really appreciate it.
We are beings of light. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't read that, by the way, anywhere. Maybe I did at some point in the past, and it's just in the reservoir. But
it sounds like a great chorus for a song.
Yeah, it's a next Ellie song.
We are beings of light.
All right, guys.
All right, well, we'll see you next week. Have a great Shabbos, and thanks
Shabbos.
everyone for coming and joining us. And I after tasting the X2O water, I definitely recommend it, man. It's very
for sure.
Get patched, get water, and get glutathione.
And get the Immunotech from Norman as well. You can just to reemphasize. Feel free to reach out to Norman and get some Immunotech, a very powerful source.
By the way, our friend in New York she's on her 7th day, I think, maybe 7, maybe 8.
Oh, yeah, she is having a powerful experience. I think all these things are so important right now because like you said, in America, I mean the level of poison in the food is very high. So we need
It's
to
just,
really
yeah, once you start to look into it, it's shocking. And when you're talking to somebody, like I said, when you're listening to somebody they like literally moved out of the US for that reason.
Wow.
And then they documented what they discovered, including how they feel. One had one struggled with immune issues. Another one struggled with skin conditions or whatever. And like, I don't know, 6 months, they've been out of the country 6 months to a year, and it's like all cleared up. It's just crazy.
I'm probably gonna drink more throughout the day.
I hope you're not
Water.
up all night.
I'm
But,
not. I don't even feel.
She's pretty good at
energetic.
sleeping. Yeah, she's a light sleeper, but she's a good sleeper. So.
Light sleeper.
Well, yeah, you're.
Well, when I'm, like, dead
we could have
tired.
conversations at 2 a.m. Very, it's like she doesn't like hit me or anything. It's just she answers me. So,
When I'm dead tired, I don't even move.
but anyway, so we will see everybody in a couple hours. We'll be doing our live show. There is a Zoom meeting for people on the Patriot Warrior side of things going on. I think in an hour.
No, right now.
Right now. So we're probably going to join that. But just thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you next
Thank
Thursday.
you, Debbie. Thank
And
you,
thank you, Debbie, and
everyone.
everybody else. And
Right.
Brenda.
See you guys.
See you
See
later.
ya.
Have a good week.